Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Friday, September 24th, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's Thursday Night Football game, look ahead to the rest of the Week 3 Sunday games. College football, we'll go over last night's game, look ahead to the weekend. Major League Baseball, Wnba playoffs, Major League Soccer, Ryder Cup pairings, news and notes. We'll recap last night's episode of The Masked Singer and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start with the NFL as we will go over the results from Thursday Night Football and look ahead to the weekend. All right. The Panthers defeat the Texans by a score of 24-9. Panthers go to 3-0. The Texans drop to 1-2. Sam Darnold, 23-34, 304 yards and a rushing touchdown. Davis Mills, 19-28, 168 yards and a touchdown. Bad news for Carolina in this game. They lost both Christian McCaffrey and J.C. Horn in this game due to injury. So, a very costly win, you might add, for the Carolina Panthers. All right, now we'll move on to Sunday. It's going to be a fun Sunday. A lot of fun games. A lot of interesting subplots. First up, the Arizona Cardinals at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I project Arizona by 7.5 or 5.5, total of 53. And it's Arizona 7.5, total 51.5. Got to take the Jags plus the 7.5, minus 118. They got to cover one of these games, right? I don't think they're going to look like garbage their first three games with Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer, right? I would say the Cardinals win by a score of maybe 26-20. 33-26, something like that. Next up, the Colts and the Titans. I project the Titans by 12.5, total 52-25. That's assuming that Carson Wentz doesn't play, and if Wentz plays, that goes to 8. And I have Titans 5.5, total 47.5. I love the Titans. Love them. Minus 5.5, minus 1 time. They're going to build off that Seattle win. Wentz or not, I absolutely love Tennessee in this spot. And I like the over too, but I just like the Titans so much more because I don't think that Wentz is going to play. The Ravens and the Lions. I project Ravens 8, total 64-25. And it's Ravens 7.5, total 50.5. Over. Oh my God, I love the over. The Ravens offense, I think, will carry over its success into this game, and the Lions defense is garbage. Washington against the Bills. I project the Bills by 12.5, total 42-25, and it's 7 and 45.5. I'm laying the 7 with Buffalo. Letdown for Washington after a big win. The Saints at the Patriots. I project the Patriots by 7.5, total 34.5, and all it's 3 and 42.5. So here I'm going to go with the under. Do I feel strongly about it? No. But I do think that this could be a low-scoring game. And I just realized that I forgot that the Saints have a few injuries in their secondary and in their pass rush. And this could potentially be a projection of 8.5. But my projection, believe it or not, is actually 8, not 7.5 because I forgot to put in an injury note here. But I'm not sure about Davenport, but Lattimore's hurt for New Orleans. I had to put that in the projection. So I'm going to keep the under pick, but I don't feel super about it. I also like the Pats too. Keeping going on the 1 o'clock window, you have the Chargers at the Chiefs. I project Chiefs by 4.5, total 51.5, about 6.5 and 54.5. I don't love this pick, but I'm going with the under. I just think that the Chargers D will be a little better than people think in this spot. The Bears at the Browns. I project the Browns by 10, total 49.75. Meanwhile, it's 7.5 and 45. So, a 2.5 point edge on the Browns. And a pretty big edge on the over. So, I'm going to go over 45, minus 115 there. Bengal Steelers. I project Steelers 9, total 42.5. And it's 3 and 43.5. And obviously, this depends on the size of Ben Roethlisberger. And say if he were to miss this game, I would project this at 4. And no TJ Watt potentially too. And that would bring it down to 3 for me too. But let me check TJ's status real quick. He returned to practice. That looks like he's going to play. So, and it looks like Ben's going to go too. So, I'm going to lay the 3 with the Steelers. Falcons, Giants. I project the Giants by 6, total 52.5. And meanwhile, it's Giants 3, total 47.5. I am going to go with another over. The Giants offense actually showed some promise last week. And I think that could carry over against the weaker Falcon defense, and I think the Falcons offense can show what it had against the Bucs in this game too. So I like the over in this game a lot. Although I do think Big Blue will win. Again on the board. 4 o'clock, Dolphins Raiders. I project the Raiders by 4.5, total 42.75. Meanwhile, it's 3.5 and 43.5. It is so close. I'm going to lay the 3.5 with the Raiders, but it's a slim lay for the Raiders. The Jets and the Broncos. I project the Broncos by 13.5, total of 35. Meanwhile, it is 10.5 and 41.5. I'm taking the under for the podcast play. I just think this is a super duper low scoring game. Game of the week. Buccaneers at the Rams. I project the Rams by 3, total 58. Meanwhile, it's Buccaneers by 1.5, total 55.5. I'm taking the Rams getting the 1.5, and I like them plus 108, the win, straight up. I think this is a big spot for the Rams and Matt Stafford, and I think that Brady might be peeking to Foxborough next week a little bit. Seahawks, Vikings. I project the Vikings by 1, total 56.25. Meanwhile, Seahawks 2.5, total 55.5. I'm taking the Vikings plus the 2.5 and plus 110, the win, straight up. Sunday Night Football. Last but not least, the Packers and the 49ers. I project the 49ers by 3.5, total 48.75. Meanwhile, it's 3 and 50.5. This is a tough call, but I'm going to go under 50.5 at minus 110 for the pick here. All right, now I'm going to go over the college football game from last night, and I will look ahead to the weekend it will be in college football. The result of last night's game was App State over Marshall, 31-30. I win with the Marshall play. As App State goes to 3-1, Marshall 2-2. Chase Bryce, 24-39 to 283 yards, a touchdown, the pick. And Grant Wells, 18-33, 270 yards, and a touchdown. Now look ahead to the weekend. All right, so on Friday, 6:30 CBS Sports Network, you have Middle Tennessee against Charlotte. I project Charlotte by 6, total 44-25. Meanwhile, it's 2.5 and 55.5. I'm going over, or that's a lie, under. Yeah, no, not the over, the under. I think it's a low-scoring game. 7 o'clock on ESPN2, Wake Forest against Virginia. I project Virginia and Wake to be a pick'em, total 63-75. Virginia 3.5, total 68.5. I'm going under. I can't believe I'm going under here, but that's the pick. 8 o'clock on the ACC Network, Liberty and Syracuse. I project Liberty by 7.5, total 39.5. Meanwhile, it's Liberty 6.5, total 54.5. I'm taking the under. Syracuse's defense, I think, has been a little bit better than we thought so far this year. 10 o'clock on CBS Sports Network, you have UNLV at number 22, Fresno State. I project Fresno 15.5, total 54. Meanwhile, it's 30.5 and 59.5. I have no choice but to take the awful UNLV squad at plus 30.5. Fresno with the number by its name. You know it's going to have a letdown. All right, Saturday. We got Georgia against Vanderbilt. I project Georgia by 25.5, total 48-75. Meanwhile, it is Georgia by 34.5, total 53.5. I'm taking Vandy in the 34.5. I don't have the FCS FBS lines, but Villanova Penn State on the Big Ten Network. Number 6, Penn State. I project Penn State 21.5, total 49.95. On Fox, number 12 Notre Dame, number 18 Wisconsin. I project Wisconsin by 2, total 46.75, and that's from Soldier Field. And it is 5.5 and 45.5. I have to take Notre Dame in the 5.5. I just think that this game's very close at Soldier Field. LSU and Mississippi State. I project LSU by 4.5, total 69, as in 60.9. And it's LSU 2.5, total 56.5. I'm going to take the over here. I think this is a high-scoring game. Missouri-Boston College on ESPN2. And by the way, the game we just talked about is going to be on ESPN. I project BC by 10, total 56.25. Meanwhile, it's Missouri by 1.5, total 50.5. I think this is a major overreaction to the quarterback injury. So give me BC plus 1.5 and minus 102 to win straight up. FIU Central Michigan, I project Central Michigan by 5.5, total 60-75. Meanwhile, it's 11.5 and 55.5. I'm going to take FIU and the 11.5 to cover. New Hampshire Pitt on the ACC Network X channel. My projection is Pitt 13, total 56.3. Richmond Vatech, I have Vatech 18.5, total 41.15 on the ACC Network. ESPNU, Bowling Green in Minnesota. I project Minnesota by 27, total 48-45. Meanwhile, it is Minnesota 31.5, total 50.5. I'm going to take Bowling Green getting the points just to cover. Big Ten Network, Ohio Northwestern. I project Northwestern 17, total 53-25. Meanwhile, it is 14.5 and 48.5. I'm going to take another over here. Fox Sports 1, SMU, TCU. I project TCU 10.5, total 63-75. Meanwhile, it is 9.5 and 65.5. Very close together numbers. But I'm going to go with the under, but I don't feel good about it. ABC, Texas Tech, Texas. I project Texas by 12.5 total, 62-25. Meanwhile, it's 9.5 and 61.5. I have to lay with Texas. I have no choice. Wagner Temple, I project Temple 40.5 total, 59.05. Miami of Ohio, Army on CBS Sports Network. I project Army by 16.5 total, 63-15. Meanwhile, it is 7.5 and 48.5. Oof. This is a tough one. Because I have huge edges on both Army and the over. But I'm going to go with the over. Because it's a bigger edge. CBS, Boise State, Utah State. I project Boise State by 1, total 64.9. Meanwhile, it is Boise 9.5, total 69.5. I'm going to take Utah State plus the 9.5. Will they win outright? Probably not, but it's a pretty big edge in a conference game there. Central Connecticut at Miami. I project Miami by 22, total 52-45. 1 o'clock, UMass at number 17, Coastal Carolina. I project Coastal by 23, total 64.5. Meanwhile, it is 36.5 and 65.5. I'm taking UMass in the 36.5. San Jose State and Western Michigan at 2 o'clock. I project Western by 8, total 53-25. Meanwhile, it is Western 2.5, total 62.5. Another one with big edges, both places. I'm going to take the under, 62.5 minus 108. Toledo, Ball State. I project Ball State 5.5, total 50-75. It is Toledo by 4.5, total 56.5. I'm taking Ball State in the 4.5 and plus 168, straight up. Texas State and Eastern Michigan. I project Eastern by 8.5, total 50. 6.5 and 62.5. I'm taking the under. 2:30 Maine and Northern Illinois. I project Northern by 37, total 64-35. Pac-12 Network, Washington State, Utah. I project Utah 15.5, total 53-75. Meanwhile, it's Utah 14.5, total 53.5. Very close numbers. Wow. It's as close can get. But I'm going to lay with Utah for the podcast pick. Don't feel good about it. .330 Fox Sports 1, Colorado State at number 5, Iowa. I project Iowa by 25, total 38.4. It's 23.5 and 44.5. I'm going to take the under. CBS, number 7, Texas A&M at number 16, Arkansas from AT&T Stadium. I project A&M by 7.5, total 45.5. Meanwhile, it's A&M 4.5, total 46.5. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Texas A&M, but I don't feel good about it. Clemson and NC State on ESPN. Number 9, Clemson, I should say. I project Clemson by 7, total 28.5. Meanwhile, it's 9.5 and 47.5. I have to take the under. That's crazy. Iowa State and Baylor. Number 14, Iowa State and Baylor on Fox. I project Iowa State by 9, total 49. Meanwhile, it is Iowa State giving 7.5, total 47.5. This line really snuck up on me recently. But I'm still going to lay with Iowa State, but I don't feel good about it. 0.5 edge on both Iowa State and the over. ABC, Rutgers at number 19, Michigan. I project Michigan by 8, total 53.9. Meanwhile, it is Michigan is 20.5. Total is 49.5. So I'm going to take Rutgers plus the 20.5 to stay within the number. Next up is UTSA Memphis on ESPNU. I project Memphis by 8, total 68. Meanwhile, it's 3.5 and 66.5. I'm laying the 3.5 with Memphis at plus 102. Wow. Next up, Louisville, Florida State on ESPN2. I project Louisville 5.5, total 68. Meanwhile, it's Louisville 1.5, total 61.5. I'm so happy that the over is the play here rather than Louisville, because I think this could be a trap game. So I'm going over 61.5 minus 114. Big Ten Network, Illinois against Purdue. I project Purdue 17.5, total 49.85. Meanwhile, it's 11.5 and 52.5. I am laying the 11.5 with Purdue. I actually like that pick a lot. Big Ten Network, Kent State and Maryland. I project Maryland only by 5, total 44.75. Well, it's 14.5 and 69.5. I'm taking the under. I have a huge edge on the under here. CBS Sports Network, Wyoming and UConn. I project Wyoming 25, total 63.35. Meanwhile, it's 30.5 and 53.5. I'm taking the over. I can't believe I'm taking the over in this game. Like, unbelievable. UConn's going to potentially give it up by themselves. Towson and San Diego State. I project San Diego State 35.5, total 44.45. 4 o'clock, SEC Network. Georgia State at number 23, Auburn. I project Auburn by 11.5, total 55.85. Meanwhile, it's 27.5 and 57.5. I am taking Georgia State in all those points. ACC Network, Kansas Duke. I project Duke by 16, total 58.75. Meanwhile, it's 15.5 and 56.5. I'm going to take the over. 5 o'clock, Arkansas State against Tulsa. I project Tulsa by 2.5, total 68. Meanwhile, it's 14.5 and 62.5. I love Arkansas State getting all the points. A winless Tulsa team should not be favored by that much over an Arkansas State team that isn't that bad. 6 o'clock, Pac-12 Network, number 24, UCLA against Stanford. I don't think anybody was expecting this to be a big game right now, but here we are. I project Stanford by 5.5, total 60.2. Meanwhile, it's UCLA favored by 4.5, total 58.5. I love Stanford plus the 4.5 and minus 112 and plus 164 to win on the money line. Buffalo and Old Dominion. I project Buffalo 14.5, total 49.5. Meanwhile, it's 13.5 and 51.5. I have to take the under. Don't feel strong about it. Charleston Southern and Eastern Carolina. I project Eastern Carolina by 12.5, total 56.65. Louisiana and Georgia Southern. I project Louisiana by 15, total 54.5. Meanwhile, it is 13.5 and 53.5. Oh my God. These numbers are pretty good. I'm going to lay it with Louisiana minus 118 with the 3.5. I don't feel strong about it. Texas Southern against Rice at 6:30. I project Rice by 48.5, total 59.85. 7 o'clock, ESPN, Tennessee at number 11, Florida. I project Florida by 10.5, total 58.25. Meanwhile, it's 18.5 and 63.5. I'm going to take Tennessee in the 18.5 and minus 108. Nebraska and Michigan State. Number 20, Michigan State on Fox Sports 1. I project Michigan State by 5, total 48-85. Meanwhile, it is Michigan State 4.5, total 52.5. I have to take the under. I don't feel strong about it. ESPN Plus, number 25, Kansas State at Oklahoma State. I project OK State by 8, total 44.5. Meanwhile, it's 5.5 and 46.5. I'm laying with Oklahoma State, but I really don't like it. Kentucky and South Carolina. I project Kentucky by 10, total 52. This game is going to be on ESPN 2. And it is Kentucky by 4.5, total 48.5. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Kentucky. North Texas and Louisiana Tech. I project La Tech by 10.5, total 59.5. Meanwhile, it's 11.5 and 64.5. I'm taking the under. ESPNU Navy Houston. I project Houston by 11, total 48. Meanwhile, it's 18.5 and 45 and or 48.5. I'm gonna I'm taking Navy plus 18.5 and minus 112. 7:30 SEC Network. Southern Miss at number 1 Alabama. I project Bama by 30, total 46-25. Meanwhile, it is 45.5 and 58.5. I have to take Southern Miss plus the 45 in the hook at minus 122, but I don't like it. West Virginia at number 4 Oklahoma. Saturday primetime on ABC. I project Oklahoma by 16, total 54. Meanwhile, it's 17.5 and 55.5. So half-point edge on West Virginia, half-point edge on the under. I don't know what side I feel better about. I'm going to say under, but it's tough. It's either going to be West Virginia or the under. 1.5 edge, but I'm going to go with the under. Because West Virginia sometimes wets the bed in these big spots in primetime on the road. Or at home, but they're on the road this time. Akron, Ohio State on the Big Ten Network. Number 10, Ohio State. I project Ohio State by 36.5, total 68.1. Obviously, no C.J. Stroud in this game, and it's 48.5 and 66.5. I have no choice but to take Akron plus the points. From Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta on the ACC Network. Number 21, North Carolina against Georgia Tech. I project Carolina by 5.5, total 48.75. Meanwhile, it's 12.5 and 63.5. I'm going to take the under in this spot. 8 o'clock, Fox Sports 2, FAU against Air Force. I project Air Force by 5.5, total 53.25. Meanwhile, it is Air Force 3.5, total 54.5. Again, another close line, but I'm going to take Air Force minus 3.5 and minus 114 because it's over a 1.5 edge. Luckily. UAB and Tulane. I project Tulane by 0.5, total 66.5. Meanwhile, it's Tulane by 3.5, total 55.5. I love the over. Oh my God, the over in this game is crazy. Indiana and Western Kentucky on CBS Sports Network. I project Indiana by 0.5, total 62. Meanwhile, it's Indiana 9.5, total 63.5. I love Western Kentucky getting the 9.5 at minus 112 here. I don't know if they'll win outright or not. Probably not, but I'm going to take plus 9.5 and minus 112. Troy against Yale Monroe. I project Troy by 3, total 43.5. Meanwhile, it is Troy by a whopping 24.5, total 49.5. I'm taking Yale Monroe plus a 24.5 and minus 120. Hawaii and New Mexico State. I project Hawaii by 7, total 47.7. Meanwhile, 17.5. Total 62.5. I'm taking the under. Under 62.5 minus 114. New Mexico State against UTEP or New Mexico against UTEP. State's at hosting Hawaii. New Mexico's at UTEP. I project UTEP by 3. Total 48.25. Meanwhile, it is UTEP by a half. Total 53.5. I'm going to go with another under here. And that game's a 9 o'clock game that I just discussed. And a 9:30 Pac-12 Network, Cal against Washington. I project Washington by 13, total 50-25. Meanwhile, it's 7.5, total 46.5. I'm laying it with Washington against Cal. 10:15 on ESPN2, South Florida against number 15 BYU. I project BYU by 29, total 47-25. Meanwhile, it's 23.5, total 53.5. So I have a 5.5 point edge on BYU. And a less than 5.5 point, or more than 5.5 point edge on the under. So I don't feel good about the under. But that's where the bigger edge lies. I go when I have a bigger edge on, and that is the under. 10:30 ESPN, number 3 Oregon hosting Arizona. I project Oregon by 34.5, total 52.5. Meanwhile, it's 28.5 and 58.5. I'm gonna lay it with Oregon against Zona. Oregon State USC on a FS1. I project USC by 18, total 58.4. Meanwhile, it's 10.5 and 62.5. I'm laying it with USC minus 10.5 and minus 114. And last but not least, on ESPNU, Colorado and Arizona State. I project Zona State by 18.5, total 34.5. Meanwhile, it is 14.5 and 44.5. I'm taking under 44.5 at minus 106 in that game. So there you have it for college football picks for the weekend. Now we'll move on to Major League Baseball from last night. I'm just going to quickly rapid fire through the scores and look ahead to the weekend. White Sox over Indians 7-2 in Game 1 of the doubleheaders. They finally clinched the AL Central. Cardinals over the Brewers 8-5. Dodgers over the Rockies 7-5-10. Mariners over the A's 6-5. D-backs over the Braves 6-4. Pods over the Giants 7-6-10. On a walk-off infield single by Victor Caratini. Indians over the White Sox 5-3-7 doubleheader game 2. Nats over the Reds 3-2. Phils over the Pirates 12-6. Orioles over the Rangers 3-0. Twins over the Blue Jays 7-2. And Angels over the Astros 3-2. So best bet was a loser. Looking ahead to tonight, a suspended doubleheader game number 2 between the Padres and the Braves. But they'll resume it at Petco Park tonight. I doubt there's any lines for this one, and there's not. $2:20 on ESPN, doubleheader game 1. The Cardinals and the Cubs. J. Happ and Justin Steele. Cards minus 162. Cubs plus 136. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Cards minus 1.5 is plus 102. Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 122. I'm going to go with over 7.5 minus 104. 7 o'clock ESPN, Yankees Red Sox from Fenway. The biggest series of the season between these two teams, and of the season for these two teams, and of the Major League Baseball season in general. When you have the Yankees and the Red Sox in a pennant race fighting for their playoff lives, then it automatically becomes the biggest series of the season in all capacities. And it's not just for both these two teams. This is the biggest series of the season in Major League Baseball, period, end of story. And it is Garrett Cole against Nathan Eovaldi. The Yankees are minus 118. The Red Sox are even money. Over under 9. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Yanks minus 1/2 is plus 128. Red Sox plus 1/2 is minus 154. I'm going to lay the minus 118 with the Yanks. I just think that they should be bigger favorites than this. With Garrett calling the bump. I do think he'll bounce back in a big way. Pirates, Phillies. Sam Howard and Kyle Gibson. Phils minus 205. Pirates plus 172. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Pirates plus 1/2 is minus 126. Phillies minus 1/2 is plus 105. I'm going over 8.5 minus 115. Rangers, Orioles. Spencer Howard, Alex Wells. Orioles minus 110. Rangers minus 106. Over under 9.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Rangers minus 1/2 is plus 142. Orioles plus 1/2 is minus 170. I'm going to take the over minus 104. White Sox, Indians. Dylan Cease and Shane Bieber. So Shane Bieber back off the injured list as he's making the start for Cleveland. White Sox minus 124. Indians plus 106. Over under 8. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. White Sox minus 1/2 is plus 134. Indians plus 1/2 is minus 162. I'm taking the Indians as a home dog with Shane Bieber on the bump. Royals, Tigers. Carlos Hernandez, Casey Mize. Each team's minus 108. Over under 9. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Royals minus 1/2 is plus 152. Tigers plus 1/2 is minus 184. I'm taking the Tigers with Casey Mize on the bump. Minus 108. Marlins, Rays. Edward Cabrera and David Robertson. Robertson as an opener for Tampa. Rays minus 290. Marlins plus 235. Over under 9. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Marlins plus 1/2 is plus 114. Rays minus 1/2 is minus 137. I'm going to go over 9 minus 105. That's easy. Nats, Reds. Paolo Espino and Sonny Gray. Reds minus 190. Nats plus 160. Over under 9. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Nats plus 1/2 is minus 128. Reds minus 1/2 is plus 106. I'm going to go over 9 even money, but I don't feel super about it. 8 o'clock, Cards, Cubs, Game 2. Jack Flaherty and Zach Davies. We only have the lines, not the totals and everything yet. Cards are minus 184. Cubs are plus 154. Again, if the total is anything, I'm going to say even less than 7, I'm going to take the over because Jack Flaherty is good. Mets, Brewers. Tyler McGill and Eric Lauer. Brewers minus 152. Mets plus 128. Over under 8. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Mets plus 1/2 is minus 162. Brewers minus 1/2 is plus 134. I'm going to go over 8 minus 104. I can't believe how low that is. Giants, Rockies. Alex Lowe and Peter Lambert. Peter Lambert making his debut. Giants minus 200. Rockies plus 168. Over under 12. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Giants minus 1/2 is minus 128. Rockies plus 1/2 is plus 106. And going under 12 minus 114. That's low. Blue Jays, Twins. Jose Berrios and Bailey Ober. So Berrios back in Minnesota. He's minus 152. Twins are plus 128. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Blue Jays minus 1/2 is plus 102. Twins plus 1/2 is minus 122. I'm going to go Blue Jays run line. The return of Berrios, I think he pitches great. Minus 1/2 is plus 102. $9:30, Mariners, Angels. Logan Gilbert and Jose Suarez. Mariners minus 122. Angels plus 104. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Mariners minus 1/2 is plus 140. Angels plus 1/2 is minus 170. I'm going to go over 8.5 and minus 106. Astros, A's. Zach Greinke and Frankie Montas. Astros' magic number to clinch the West, I believe, is still 3. A's minus 120, Astros plus 102, over under 7.5, minus 110 each way. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 210. Oakland minus 1.5 is plus 172. I'm going to go with the Astros. How are they a dog? Remember when Greinke was a dog at Oakland on opening day and everybody freaked out? And I took Oakland in that game. Bad job by me. I learned my lesson. Give you Greinke and the Stros with a chance to clinch the division. Plus 102 against Oakland. Dodgers D-backs. Tony Gonsolin and Humberto Castellanos. Dodgers minus 230. D-backs plus 190. Over under 10. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Dodgers minus 1.5 is minus 142. D-backs plus 1.5 is plus 118. I'm going to go under 10 minus 114. And last but not least, 10 o'clock on ESPN, you have the Braves at the Padres. Max Fried, we don't know who's going yet for San Diego. But I'm going to probably go with the over if the total is anything less than 8.5 in this game. All right, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, 2:20, Cards Cubs, 4 o'clock. Pirates Phillies. Astros A's. Yankees Red Sox, 6 o'clock. Royals Tigers. Marlins Rays, 7 o'clock. Rangers Orioles. Mets Brewers. Blue Jays Twins. Nats Reds. 7:15, Brewers Padres. White Sox Indians. Both those games will probably be on Fox. 8 o'clock, Dodgers D-backs. Giants Rocks. And 9 o'clock, Mariners Angels. Sunday, 12 o'clock, Royals Tigers. 1 o'clock, Pirates Phils. Rangers Orioles. White Sox Indians. Marlins Rays. Nats Reds. 2 o'clock, Mets Brewers. Blue Jays Twins. Cards Cubs. 3 o'clock, Giants Rocks. 4 o'clock, Astros A's. Mariners Angels. Braves Padres. Dodgers D-backs. And last but not least, on Sunday Night Baseball, and deservingly so, might be the biggest game of the year at this point, because let's say the Red Sox and the Yankees split the first two, which I think is very likely. So, this is probably the biggest game of the year. And the pitching matchup, Jordan Montgomery and Eduardo Rodriguez. I feel like these two guys always face off against each other. Always. Those two. Very weird. All right, now we will go over the WNBA playoff games from last night and look ahead to Sunday's games. Sky over the Wings, 81-64. The Sky blow them out. Clea Cooper, 23 points for Chicago, and Enrique Agumbali had 22 for Dallas. Mercury over to Liberty, 83-82. This was a fabulous game. I did not expect the Liberty to play as well as they did, but give them credit. They were great. Although, the Mercury did not have Dinah Taurasi. Skylar Diggins-Smith, 22 points for Phoenix, and Benija Laney had 25 for the Liberty. All right, Sunday, 3 o'clock on ABC of the Mercury and the Storm. I'm going to say 6.5 would be my projections for this game. And then 5 o'clock on ESPN2 is the Sky and the Lynx. So, I would say Mini by 9. Should say 8.5. Meanwhile, the other side should be 5.5. So, Mini by 8.5 would be my line. I think Mini will win the game on Sunday. All right, now I'll look at the Major League Soccer window from the weekend. I won't do gambling picks because I'm running short on time and I have other stuff to get to on the show. So Saturday, 3:30, Philly, Atlanta, 7 o'clock, New England, Orlando, 7:30, Columbus Club Football, Montreal, D.C., United, Cincinnati, 8 o'clock, Colorado, Toronto, Minnesota, Houston, NYCFC, Red Bulls, 10 o'clock, San Jose, LAFC, and Vancouver, Dallas, and also 10:30, Portland, Salt Lake. And then Sunday, 3 games, 1 o'clock, Chicago, Nashville, 7 o'clock, Kansas City, Seattle, 9:30, ESPN 2, Austin, and the LA Galaxy. All right, now we'll move on to the Ryder Cup as the groups were announced for the tournament. So, we will see the groups here. As Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth run it back. And they'll be facing off against John Rahm and Sergio Garcia. They started off at 8:05. And then 8:21, Paul Casey, Victor Hovland, Dustin Johnson, Colin Morikawa. 8:37, Lee Westwood and Matt Fitzpatrick against Brooks Koepka and Daniel Berger. 8:53, Rory McIlroy and Poulter against Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele. And the Friday afternoon pairings will be announced Friday after the captains turn them in and prior to the first tee time of 1 o'clock Eastern. And on the show yesterday, I predicted that USA would take it home. All right, now I'll do NASCAR as I will preview and predict the races for the weekend. So, the Truck Series, the race is the Victoria's Voice Foundation 200. I have no time to go through the starting lineups. I'm just going to make picks. Let's go Matt Crafton, 12-1 to win the Victoria's Voice Foundation 200. That is tonight at 9 o'clock. Xfinity, the Alsco Uniforms 302. That's tomorrow night in prime time. Let's go with Harrison Burton, 9-1 to win this race. And then Cup Series, South Point 400. Sunday at night race. That's different. Let's go with Martin Truex Jr., 9-1 to win the South Point 400 race. All right, now I'm going to do news and notes. I'm going to try to be quick here. There's breaking news right now coming into ESPN. The NFL is adding Monday Night Football to the playoffs as Super Wildcard Weekend will have 2 Saturday games, 3 on Sunday, and a Monday night game due to expanded playoffs. I like this a lot. A Monday night game. So, the thing that stinks about it is that whoever plays that and wins has a short week. But then again, teams have short weeks in the playoffs often because sometimes in the wild card weekend a team would play Sunday and then Saturday. So, or if the team on the Monday plays Saturday, that would be an extra short week. So it's good and bad. I like it, but it would suck if you're the team that wins that game and has to play on Saturday in the division round. That would completely suck. 30 of 32 NHL rinks to be at full capacity this season, and the 2 teams that won't be with full crowds to start the year will be Montreal and Vancouver. Kristaps Porzingis does not want to trade as he is feeling optimistic since the team's coaching change and is no longer seeking a trade. So we'll see if he bounces back from a disappointment last year. So we talked about how the NHL will have ads on their jerseys, as the Capitals become the first team to announce their sold ad space with Caesars Sportsbook. So that's interesting. We talked about injuries in the Thursday night game. J.C. Horn was carted off during the game, and it turns out that he has a broken foot. no timetable for his return. That stinks. And Christian McCaffrey has a hamstring injury, and that pretty much cost any chance at that overpick. Lamar Jackson should be fine against the Lions. He's dealing with the stomach bug. Charlie Montoyo gets a 1-game suspension after Toronto threw at Kevin Kiermaier on Wednesday. '49ers coach Kyle Shanahan and Packers coach Matt LaFleur had tension during the offseason because of the 49ers' offseason pursuit of Aaron Rodgers. Karl Anthony Towns not asking for a trade, and there's no indications that he wants out of Minnesota, despite teams' firing of Gerson Rosas. Joel Embiid, a full go after rehab, as he'll play with the normal preseason load after resting and rehabbing the knee injury. 90% of NBA players are vaccinated. Nearly all the players are fully vaccinated ahead of the upcoming season, as the rates have been rising. Vladimir Tarasenko is committed to the St. Louis Blues, as he says he'll work 100% despite the trade request this summer. Marc-Andre Fleury opens up about getting traded, as he thought he was going to retire in Vegas, and the owner said it in the media last season too. So that's really interesting. That's why you can't guarantee things in life right there. New York Rangers defenseman Adam Fox wears a Norris jersey, as he ain't letting anyone forget who was in the NHL's best defenseman last season. C.J. Stroud the rest against Akron, as he's going to be used in an emergency capacity, and the quarterbacks that will play for Ohio State will be Kyle McCord and Jack Miller. And we talked about that in the college football segment earlier. Jason Garrett says that he loves Kenny Golladay, as he downplays the sideline confrontation. Alex Guerrero says that Bill Belichick treated Tom Brady like a 20-year-old kid by the end of his Patriots run, and Bill never evolved. Wow. This is going to be obviously the biggest subplot of next week, the fact that Brady's going to Foxborough. And it feels like already that might be the game of the year, because it's the best football player ever going back to his old team for the first time since leaving. And this is the biggest return game, in my opinion, in NFL history. Even more so than Peyton Manning going back to Indy. Because both these teams are good, just like both the Broncos and the Colts were good. But it's because it's Tom Brady. That's why. Evgeny Malkin missed 2 months following knee surgery, so the Penguins will be without Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin to start the year. That's not good. And last news item to get to is that, coming down a couple moments ago, Chris Cuomo of CNN, the brother of Andrew Cuomo, the former New York governor, accused of sexually harassing former ABC boss at a 2005 party in New York City. Wow. We'll see how that goes and whether Cuomo gets yanked from CNN and what's next for him. I'm not talking about Chris. All right, before Best Bet and Fab Five, I want to get into Masked Singer from last night. It was an interesting show, to say the least. And I talked about on yesterday's show that Mother Nature was on the verge of getting unmasked, and they said, stay tuned till tomorrow, which is very Masked Singer of them to do. My first impression guess of Mother Nature, only because it was giving me like talk show vibes and a little bit of vocals, because I think this person can sing. She did act in a movie, and that is Ellen DeGeneres. That was my first impression guess. But my final guess was Wanda Sykes, because I thought it was her personality and everything. Ken's first and final was Tiffany Haddish. Nicole's first and final was different. She went Chelsea Handley for first. And her final was Tracy Ellis Ross. Robin's first and final was Tracy Ellis Ross. And Jenny's first and final was Tiffany Haddish as well. And who was it? Vivica A. Fox. A big-time actor, or actress, I should say. And they're all wrong, and I was wrong. And then came out wild card number 1, the hamster. He hinted about, like, how his body is shaped like a hamster. I don't know if that's a lie or not, because sometimes these contestants lie to throw people off. He said that life was hard for him over the last year and always likes to do projects. And this song performance was to Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison. And it was actually pretty good. And it was giving me like an Elvis vibe. I think this person was trying to sound like Elvis a little bit. And that's why my first impression guess is who it is. I'm not going to say who it is. But I'll give it away once this person's unmasked. And the locker clue is the special of the night. And the locker clue is a baseball bat. My guess for hamster, I have a guess. I'm going to go with Bill Murray. He obviously sings Party All the Time. He's a good actor, too. And that was based on the vocals. And Ken Jeong also said Bill Murray and also said Brandon Fraser. Jenny McCarthy suggested a couple. Tim Allen, Albert Brooks, Andy Richter. And Nicole suggested Jack Black. The funny thing about hamster is that they showed his hands. And there was white skin. Skin color is really not supposed to be shown. So we know that hamster is white. Then went skunk. There's a library with books. There's a U.S. governor thing, which was weird. And she says she had unexpected news that made her go a different way. And she performed Man's World by James Brown. It was sensational. I thought she was much better last night than she was 2 nights ago. And her locker had a projector in it. And she said that she's ready to learn. Based on the vocals, I think this is somebody that is a 70s, 80s type of singer. And right now, the name I've jotted down is Tina Turner. I was getting River Deep vibes, Proud Mary vibes. We'll see. Ken Jeong said Lauryn Hill. Robin Thicke said Yolanda Adams, which would not surprise me. Jill Scott's a good one. And he also said Fantasia, which I don't think is Fantasia. Although Yolanda Adams, I like that call. I really do. And I thought about Yolanda Adams on Wednesday night, but I just didn't, really think about it, you know? And Nicole Scherzinger went with Janelle Monáe. Pufferfish talks about being in a religious household, didn't do the normal teenager things. She talks about expressing herself. Gossip Girl, there was a Cardinal. Talks about the Met Gala. And she performed Levitating by Dua Lipa featuring the baby. And her locker had something with Spelling Bee Champ. And she said something about bars and moves. And then there's letters, too. I just thought that this was a super talented actress that could sing. But this person wasn't really doing it her best in terms of the genre this person chose. And my guess, Haley Steinfeld. Jenny McCarthy went with Nelly Furtado, which wasn't bad. Robin Thicke said Vanessa Hudgens. And Ken Jeong went with Zoe Saldana. Then the Bull went. Talks about the beat to his own drum. There's some Disney clues. He said he did shows and how in his head they were sold out. And Bull performed What Hurts the Most by Rascal Flatts. His locker had cheerleaders came running out of it. And he said he loves to cheer the crowd. I have a guess for this one. I'm going to say Chris Martin of Coldplay. I was getting vibes of Fix You and Paradise and Viva La Vida and Clocks. But more so Fix You and Paradise. More so than the others. Ken Jeong said Darren Criss and Justin Timberlake. I don't think it's JT. That'd be awesome if it was. Robin said Rufus Wainwright. Not bad. And Jenny McCarthy went with Kevin Jonas, which would be humongous. And Zac Efron, which isn't a bad guess because obviously the locker, the cheerleaders hinting at would be High School Musical. So that'd be appropriate if it was Zac Efron. Then comes out wild card number 2. And it was the baby. There's a city and a taxi throwing punches, blockbuster hits. There's a police badge. And then he hinted at replacing Arnold Schwarzenegger in a film. And then the White House was there too. And this person performed You're the First, the Last, My Everything by Barry White. I have a first impression guess, but I'm not going to give it away. And the locker had a failed driver's ed test in there. And then he says that he needs to be fed. Ken Jeong said Will Smith and Hugh Jackman. Jenny McCarthy went with Vin Diesel. And Robin Thicke went with Chuck Norris. And who went home in this episode? The pufferfish. My first impression guess was Simone Biles. My final was Haley Steinfeld. Robin Thicke's first and final, Jessica Alba. Jenny's first impression was J-Lo, which was wild. Her final, Nelly Furtado. Ken Jeong's first impression, Eyes of Ray. His final, Zoe Saldana. Nicole's first impression, Paul Abdul. And her final, Monica. And who was it? None other than actress and singer Toni Braxton. Wow. I think that Pufferfish would have went further and could have gone further if she wasn't performing with her COVID mask on under her Masked Singer costume, because she has a really good voice. She had so much more potential than this. I understand that she has a condition in which that she really has to wear it a lot out, as Nick Cannon said on the show last night. But hopefully she'll be okay in the long run, and we'll see Baby, Bull, Skunk, and Hamster next time Group A appears, and then on Wednesday will be Group B making its debut. All right, last but not least, best bet and Fab 5. Best bet will be first, as it always is. For best bet, I'm going to take the over 8 in Mets Brewers. I don't get why that one's so low. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, so I'm going to just lay 1 unit on that over. All right, and now the picks. Fab 5. This is always like my favorite segment of the shows for the week. We'll do the college Fab 5 first. All right. Pick number 1, the college Fab 5. Utah State getting 9.5 against Boise, laying a unit on it. I just feel that Boise State isn't as good as they once were. And they really are better than that, in my opinion. My next one. I'm going to go with Ball State getting the 4.5 against Toledo. I like that one a lot. I think Toledo wins the game. The third Fab 5 pick. I'm going to go with This is a hard one. Thought about the over in the UConn game, but I don't know if I trust UConn enough to score a lot. I'm going to go with Stanford plus 4.5 against UCLA for sure. I love that one a lot. Trap game for UCLA. Stanford's actually not that bad of a team. And they deserve more respect in their own building, I feel. I'm also going to go with Western Kentucky getting 9.5 against Indiana. Now I'm down to one more. And the last one I'm going to roll with will be let's do there's one I really liked. How about I was going to take the under in Georgia Tech, UNC. Oh, I know what it is. It's going to be the under 47.5 in Clemson. And NC State is the last one because Clemson under seem like automatics at this point. And then my money line pick of the week, it's down to 2. And the one I like more than the other is actually Ball State, plus 168 against Toledo. Only because I think UCLA Stanford, I think UCLA could potentially is more likely to win than Toledo in a weird way. I just have a gut feeling. All right, NFL Fab 5. First up, and these are a little bit going to be more complicated because of injuries and whatnot. First one's going to be over 50.5 between the Ravens and the Lions. Overs in Lions games are just automatic at this point. I'm going to lay the 5.5 with Tennessee against the Colts. We don't know starting a quarterback for the Colts, and I think that Tennessee's going to carry over some momentum. I'm going to take my chance, and I'm going to lay the 3 with the Pittsburgh Steelers again. This time, they're laying points against the Bengals. The Steelers came back to bite me the other day with the loss. But I'm going to ride them here again. So that's 3. And I'm only going to do one more Fab 5 pick because I'm doubling down on a Fab 5 pick for the Monday night game because I love the Monday night game a lot. So we're going to save that for Monday night. And so the last Fab 5 pick I'm going to give to you on the show today. I'm stuck between a few. But the one, I'm going to talk the talk and walk the walk, will be the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to go back to the Bills. -7 at home against the Washington Professional Football Team. And then the 5th pick is going to be Monday night. Underdog money line pick of the day of the show. I'm going to go with the Vikings as my underdog money line pick of the show. Although I do like the Rams too, but I just can't bet against Tom Brady in a money line. Oh, it's hard to bet on against Russell Wilson straight up as well. But I think Tom Brady's the tougher one to bet against rather than Russell Wilson. I think the Vikings are going to be a little bit more desperate in their game against Seattle, and I could see the Rams not winning on Sunday as well. All right, so that's it for today. You know the drill for Monday. I'll be back recapping everything. Dancing with the Stars Monday will be on as well. Hope you guys have a great weekend, everyone.